You're listening to episode 3 of the Hike or Die Outdoor Adventure podcast. I'm here with good friend Craig and we are on location in the middle of a rainforest somewhere. G'day guys, how you doing? Welcome to another podcast. I'm joined as always by Craig. How you doing, Craig?
Hey, good. Thanks, man.
We are currently hanging in our hammocks in the middle of some spectacular rainforest. And if you listen carefully, you will hear a stream running in the background. So I guess there's a few caveats on this podcast. If you hear rustling around and stuff, it's probably me getting bugs flying into my face and stuff like that. I've been pretty good at complaining so far tonight, haven't I, Craig?
Heard it a few times.
I just don't know why. I come out in the outdoors and there's all these bugs and stuff.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
What's new, mate? What have you been up to since the last podcast?
Since the last podcast? Yeah, I've just been, getting ready for this. Busting out some Ks, just getting a bit fitter. I knew it'd be a bit of a challenge today, so just been getting psyched up, I guess.
That's good. I actually got pretty inspired after that last podcast. I inspired myself. How ridiculous is that? I was on the podcast inspiring myself. Wow. If I'm the only person that listens to that, it worked.
You're your own self-help guru,
yeah.
Mate.
Oh, wow. A bat just flew straight in between us. Did you see that?
No.
Was it that little micro bat?
The little one, yeah.
Probably the same bat as last night. We call him Barry the Bat. And he's probably as wide as your hand.
Yeah, tiny.
His whole wingspan is the width from your thumb to your little finger. And he just came blasting in because these lanterns we've got up to just so we can get some video for the YouTube channel. They're attracting tons of bugs, so pretty cool. Okay, so it's not just Craig and I. Barry the bat is here as well.
You bet.
And Eric the eel, is that his name, Eric?
Oh yeah.
We had an eel visit last night, not up here, just down at the edge of the creek when we were having dinner. I gave him a little pat.
Yeah.
Craig took some video.
Yeah, mate. It was it was funny, that he let you touch him like that.
Yeah, it's weird how much he let me pat him on the side and didn't really care too much. If you do get a second, and another caveat, if the video does work, because it's very dark here, jump onto YouTube on our channel, HikeordieTV, real quick, and you'll get an idea of where we're hanging. Literally hanging, in our hammocks. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, what is news? I remember to bring my notebook and everything, Craig.
Good.
Because I saw something pop up this week. I think, did I speak to you about this? It was, where is it? tv.salomon.com. Have you seen that or heard of it?
TV?
tv.salomon.com.
No.
It's almost like I don't know, Netflix or something, but it's just content that they're generating themselves.
Oh.
And it's all epic adventure stuff. And all the stuff I looked at real quick was just really well produced. It was just absolutely amazing stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah, really worth checking out. So As always, if this is your first time listening to one of our podcasts, I do put show notes on our website. I'll be under the podcast page, and there'll be a link to the show notes there for each episode, and so I'll put in links to interesting things like that.
That sounds cool. So what is it, just stuff that just general people just sending in, or is it
they're I think they've got ambassadors and
they do,
people that they heavily sponsor.
Righto.
And I think it's a case of choosing these guys when they go on these adventures and then just following them around with a camera. But it's quite nice, like some really cinematic stuff. It's well worth watching if you want a bit of inspiration. I know some news that you didn't tell us, Craig. You bought a new toy for us to play with.
Oh, yeah, yep. So that's basically what I've been doing since the last podcast, was researching how to fly a drone and getting a new drone. So it's something I really wanted to get for our kit, because it's it's the next level of video footage. So hopefully we can bring that to the people.
Yeah, there's been many times over the years since the first kind of user-friendly drones came out, that I always thought some of the adventures that we go on, you just can't get that vastness or the magnitude of how remote we are, or how much distance we're covering, or just all of those things you can't get unless you get this really aerial kind of view.
Yeah. No, so you've been saying it. You've been saying it since the word go. So
yeah, I mean, if money wasn't an option, I would have had one 3-4 years ago, but then it wouldn't have been as good as what they're producing these days anyway.
Yeah.
So
that's exciting.
look, I think it's fair to take the natural path and build your productions up to these things.
Yeah.
Had we had a drone years ago, I might not have spent so much time behind the DSLR getting better at that,
Yeah.
So that there's always that. Now I think we're ready to add that to the quiver.
Good.
And a few other little sneaky things, like a few little toys we've been playing with. I'm going to cough a lot in this, and I apologise, and I just breathed right into the mic. I was not well this week at all. Monday night, so it's Saturday night, by the way, isn't it? Yeah, it's Saturday night. We're just living hard, partying on here in our dry camp.
Yeah.
And on Monday, I basically got home from work Monday, and I had a sore throat, and I thought, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. I just knew that I was done, and so I just went into lockdown mode. Went to bed on Tuesday night. I went to bed at 5 o'clock or something, 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And just ate really well, rested, and I just can't believe I actually pulled out of it Wednesday and Thursday, and then here we are yesterday.
Well, I think it's all worth it, mate. I read your text and thought, damn, because I was so looking forward to this. And here we are.
50% of my disappointment was letting you down, because I know that we'd planned this so much, and it wouldn't have feel good to do all of that planning and just dump it. That's not the only roadblock we've had on the way to this trip, is it?
Yeah, you can go into that, I guess.
Oh, jeez.
This is plan B, isn't it?
Is this plan B? By the time we rattled through everything, this is probably about plan I don't know,
Yeah.
F.
But we always managed to stumble across. And
We always manage to what?
stumble across an amazing place, and
Yeah, we do. I'm sorry, I'm just getting myself comfortable in this hammock. It's going to be a while. What we were looking for was a very remote adventure where we could muck around with a drone. Basically, I've got a new camera and a few other things that I wanted to try out, and we just didn't want to be running into other people. We got to the car park of a hike that I've done twice, and we packed all our gear, put our shoes on, got all ready, and just as we were about to shut the doors and put our packs on our backs, the ranger pulled up and he wandered over and said, "Where are you guys heading?" And when we told him, he said, "Oh, that trail's shut." And we said, "Oh, what about the other one that goes down?" He said, "Oh, that's shut too." We said, "Oh, how long has that been shut for?" And he said, "Since last April." So for those of you who probably wouldn't know, we had a cyclone come through, which is, what's a cyclone?
a hurricane. Hurricane, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like a hurricane come through last April, and it just destroyed lots of businesses up in north of Australia. But we didn't realise it did so much damage here as well.
Oh, I heard about it, but I didn't realise what had been done. So
He was saying there'd been heaps of landslides,
yeah,
and they'd basically torn away. Oh, a mosquito trying to bite me. It torn away trails, and massive trees had gone over, and then they'd hit the next tree and the next tree, and they'd end up with half a dozen. I mean, when I say trees, I'm talking trees that 3 people would have to link arms to kind of get around the trunk.
yeah.
And once they hit each other, they just start landslides and stuff. So he said they've been working non-stop and they haven't fixed that trail. Anyway, that leads us to having driven an hour and a half, sitting in a car park. Big storm was on the way, and we had absolutely no way of getting to the place that we've planned to go to for weeks and weeks. What do we do after that?
Well, we found another way.
Oh, yeah. Well, we did. That was after sitting in the car for about an hour on our phones. And we went through a bunch of scenarios, looking at driving 2.5, 3 hours in the opposite direction just to get to places that were worth kind of filming and hanging out for a couple of days. And finally, we decided to go for pizza at this town, which is about a half an hour away. And as we were heading down to this town, I was looking on Google Maps while Craig was driving, and I just kind of noticed there was this side road, and it linked back up to the national park. And I said to Craig, "Let's just try driving up there." And long story short, we managed to find this awesome place. We haven't seen a single person.
No.
And we set up camp about 5:30, 6 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It's just gorgeous.
Oh, mate, it's so good to be out here. Just such a switch from the city life, and
yeah, I just couldn't believe that we were out here after everything. One, me dodging that sickness, and then 2, actually being able to come out here and after that other trail being closed.
yeah. So we've done a pretty decent hike today and haven't seen anyone. And
No, well, there's no other way of getting in here.
nah, it's pretty hard to get to, and we found some pretty nice water holes. And
Yeah, some of the swimming holes we have swam in or walked past today have been,
Yeah.
fantastic, just gorgeous.
it's a perfect way to spend a bit of the summer.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, a bit of background, because people are probably thinking, well, if you're in a national park, there would have been 10 other hikes that we could have done, and you're absolutely correct, there was. All of them, well, not all of them, but a fair few of them, especially the remote ones. One in particular that we liked, it doesn't have any access to water at all, and
Yeah.
we're in the middle of summer at the moment here, and we can carry 3 to 4 litres of water. That just doesn't cut it, especially for 2.5 days. So it was just something we didn't want to really get into.
Yeah.
But we made it, that's the main thing. So yeah, that's what we've been up to. I'm going to go into shout-outs, Craig, because I wrote down 2 names.
Okay.
Because I knew that I wouldn't remember.
Yeah.
This week they're off YouTube. I just thought I'd mix it up a bit. There's a guy that's followed us forever on our YouTube channel. I'm not sure what your real name is, mate, but your handle or your username is Sovereign Aussie, and he's a good bloke. He always comments on our videos and says, positive things, which is always useful, or he gives us interesting feedback and constructive feedback. So yeah, he's always friendly and jumps in and has a chat and gives us his opinion. So thanks, Sovereign Aussie, for sticking around for all these years, mate, and thanks for jumping in on every video and throwing a comment in, because we really appreciate it, as we always say. It probably sounds a bit worn out, but it's still true. The other one is, it's a funny one. I need to get better at learning how to say people's names from other countries.
Oh.
Because this guy's hilarious. And again, go to show notes, because I'll put a link to his Instagram. So I discovered this guy by accident, and for the life of me, I can't remember where he's from. He's from, I just know I'm going to get this wrong, and I'll feel so bad. But I've got no way of checking it, because we don't have internet service out here. I'm going to say somewhere like Denmark, that sort of region, okay? Apologies if I got that wrong. I was looking at some tutorials and stuff. I always look at photography tutorials, landscape photography stuff, and I stumbled across this guy's YouTube account. This was only 6 months ago or so, and it was he only had a couple of videos at that time, but he puts them up every week now, and he's just hilarious. He's got this massive 80s hair going on, looks like a rock star. He wears bandanas and headbands and stuff. He's so funny. I'm going to try and say, I don't even know how, Oddbjorn Orstevik photo, obviously F-O-T-O, that's whatever his language is for photography, but I don't know which part of that's his name. I don't know which part's not. So I don't want to offend you, mate, but
Shout out.
I'm going to have to get you to say your name sometime in one of your YouTube videos. So he follows us on Instagram now as well, and as we follow him, it's great seeing some of his stuff. But really, for a subject that people might not you might only go to a landscape video tutorial purely for the skills that you might pick up. Every time I watch one of these guys' videos, I just end up laughing at he's got such a dry sense of humour. It's just awesome. So keep up the videos, mate. I really enjoy them, and thanks for supporting us as well. Oh, that's shout outs. Another week of shout outs. Something we were talking about, Craig, was, I guess, in preparation of this trip and during this trip, is the importance of keeping all our gear dry, and that the logistics around that, and that how complex that is. I guess it sounds a lot more simple than it is.
Yeah, sure.
What's some of the... I guess I want to dig into what are some of your tips or some tricks or whatever you've learned over the years that you might never do again, or something works so well that every single trip you just always do it that way.
For keeping the gear dry?
Yeah, anything. Just anything to do with...
Yeah.
Again, I'll frame this a little bit. This hike over this whole weekend, today especially, we were anywhere from shin deep water to almost waist deep water, for 5 hours today?
Yeah.
So we're actually walking up the river. We're not... There's limited trails. There's banks are kind of impenetrable for the most part. So the quickest highway is to walk straight up.
Yeah, sure.
Straight up the river, except when there's enormous piles of deadfall that we then have to climb under, climb over. But yeah, give us your take on, I don't know, head to toe. What do you do with gear that you kind of think works really well?
Yeah, well, of course we've had to just pack as if we were going to fall in. So everything in your bag has to be wrapped in a dry bag. That's the priority. So we have some expensive cameras and clothes and bedding, and you've got food and everything has separate dry bags. It's a good way to compartmentalize your gear anyway. And sometimes it's been really nice to have different coloured bags, because you kind of...
that's a good tip. That is a good tip that I use for sure.
Yeah, even though at first I was like, no, I just want to, get a set of the same colour, because it's kind of might work a bit better. But no, it actually works a bit better to have a couple of different options of colours. And there's different qualities. Some of them are lightweight and pretty good. Yet you saw me I've patched one.
Yeah, recently. I saw that. How do you think that got a little hole or abrasion in it? That one.
That's the bag that I used to just throw camera gear in on our when we did the Stinson hike and stuff. So
something sharp in the bag.
I think either something sharp or it just got dragged on the ground a little bit.
Okay.
Honestly, I think it just got rubbed into the ground a little bit. And I just tried to fold it up and you could feel a bit of air come out from this little hole. Yeah. And it looks scuffed. I'm not I guess I haven't thought about it too much, but I'm not 100%.
I can't really see the difference between I guess you've just pointed out the difference is the durability. But I've got one ultralight, very big one, like it's 65 litres or something. It's basically, you put all your clothes and stuff in that and crank it down and let all the air out. And what's happened to that is, and it's a good brand too.
Yeah.
What's happened to that is that all the tape came off on the inside of the seams.
Oh, because they've got those those glued seams, have they? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just, a bit came off and then it all just came off. So
Yeah.
I keep using it, but I almost feel like maybe I should get some of that.
Test it.
That's-
Oh, yeah, you can patch it, but also just test it because
Yeah.
you don't want it to let you down.
Yeah, I only ever put clothes in it, so worst case scenario is
Yeah.
a tiny bit of dampness might go into my clothes.
Yeah, and I think if we fell in more than like we did today a few times, but if you fell in, then you'd get only partially. I think you'd be standing up again pretty
Yeah,
quick.
that's right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
well,
just,
if you listen to one of the early podcasts, I did actually talk about this trip. I think it was the last podcast, and I said that I did fall in, completely submerged, my entire body, everything all disappeared underwater.
sure.
And you're right, I was back out again within sort of 10 seconds or something,
Yeah.
and it didn't really get a chance to penetrate into the actual pack.
No, if you,
It was mostly the extremities that got wet,
yeah, that's right. That's right.
and I just made silly decisions. I was lazy, and you don't think it's going to happen, but I tell you what, and we learnt again today,
Yeah.
it just happens out of nowhere. All of a sudden you're sitting down in the water.
Oh, mate, I sat down twice today.
You had a big one. Oh, gee. I was a bit worried about that.
Broke a walking stick, didn't I?
He broke his hiking stick. Bent it first. It looked like a fishing rod, but not just a fishing rod with a mighty fish on the end.
Oh yeah, it wasn't my finest hour. I was
Yeah, that was
so yeah.
that was actually. It's funny because I didn't actually find that amusing. Like, you know, sometimes you might see someone hurt themselves and think it's pretty funny. But on that occasion, I thought, oh, it would have been funny if you just kind of plopped gently in the water and got all wet. I would have laughed at that, but I didn't laugh because you actually did hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And I went down later on, not too long after that, and I jammed my hand straight into this really kind of sharp grass, very, very tough, rugged grass that grows at the side of these creeks, and I jammed my hand straight into it.
Yeah.
And I got paper cuts.
It's like a razor,
not paper cuts, grass cuts in between the webbing of my fingers.
Mate, that doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound nice.
Oh, man. And on the tip of my ring finger as well.
What would you even come out here for? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I know. Let me tell you what's out here. Bugs. Mosquitoes. Okay? Sharp grass.
Anyway.
Rocks that you can trip over and fall in the water.
Anyway, could I give you 2 more tips?
Give me more tips.
Okay. Garbage bags. Garbage bags, your general...
You mean poor man's
dry
bags?
Dry bags. And I think that, yeah, you can use them even if it's a rain coming or storm coming, just instead.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they work just as well. And then another is to the other extreme is to get yourself a fancy Cedar Summit compression sack, which is a dry bag.
Yeah, I don't have one of those.
And it's really good for clothes because anything soft can really get you push and it lets the air out, and it's watertight. So
yeah,
I put my sleeping bags, sleeping bags and clothes.
Little fruits have fallen out of the palm trees.
Yeah, sleeping bags and clothes, and sometimes this hammock into that, and it just goes down, and it's really small then.
Yeah,
because airtight bags or waterproof bags are hard because often you'll leave a little bit of air in there, and they actually then take up a bit more space than they should.
Yeah.
So
there's been times where I've quickly done a dry bag, gone to put it in, And it's this big water balloon.
It's like a balloon.
So I have to let the air back out,
So,
have a second crack at it. There's a real knack to it.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get used to how to do those.
Yeah.
I've got a pair of socks here somewhere, and I know that's exciting news for everybody listening, but I keep getting bitten by mosquitoes on my feet, so...
Yeah, it could be socks.
Oh, did you have one more tip? Oh, no, that was 2.
That's it, mate. I'm clean out.
While I'm trying to put socks on, how did your shoes go? Were they...
So good. So good.
Is that the first time you've had them in water like that all day?
No. Yes or no? I've got another set, as you know, that are a different cut. The 510s, they're called a Camp 4, have a low cut and a mid, and these are the mids today. I don't know, Tom, if I've worn them through big creeks like this, but I definitely worn them on a few hikes with you.
Yeah.
And the others I've worn through water. Their grip is incredible. They are lightweight to begin with. I just feel so confident in them.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you didn't look like you were having any trouble.
If I was having trouble, it's just my coordination. It's not the shoes.
I've got 2 pairs of Salomon hiking boots. Sorry, all those noises, guys, that's just my hammock. I was just trying to put my socks on.
Well, that's what I think these ones I use are for, for going through water. They're excellent. They're absolutely superb. I've got a pair like your Salomon boots, and they are more rigid in the sole, so they're just gonna bang. They come down with a thud, you know, and that's really good on some uneven surfaces and heavy packs and just hiking and marching along trails. But there's so many different types of shoes you can get, eh?
Yeah. I the only reason I wore those is I just wanted to wear an older pair.
Yeah.
Because I remember I've done that similar hike twice, and I remember how brutal it was on my shoes, because you find yourself putting your feet in between boulders and all sorts of stuff underwater that you can't see, and by the end of I had a brand new pair of Merrells, and by the end of that 2-day hike, it had busted some of the seams along next to the sides of the foot, and it was no fault of the shoe. I'm not. I mean, I was smashing that. Yeah, smashing it. I had a pack on, big pack, and I was just jamming my foot in between any rock.
Yeah, you'll punish them.
And they were just getting dragged down the sides of rocks as you put your foot down and stuff.
I think yours probably have a slightly broader, like a tapered out sole, perhaps. Like they do. They just come out a little bit wider than your foot.
Yep.
And I think mine actually don't do that. Mine are more angled inward a little bit on the sole.
Yep.
Which is nice if you're trying to climb up something, perhaps, or whatnot. But
at least if you've got a smaller footprint, you're taking up less real estate, so you're going to be able to get your foot into those kind of nooks and crannies.
That's right.
And maybe not get them.
But you can also
wedged as much.
Accidentally get them sort of.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Going down between the rocks, whereas if you've got a little bit more of a wider footprint, it's got its pros and cons.
No, they're a pretty good looking set of boots too. Well, what socks do you wear? I reckon that's pretty important. What socks did you wear today?
Today's just some Tico ones.
What are they made of?
I think they're only synthetic, but they've got special they just have these special sections where it's just tight and they don't move around.
Yep.
That's what I've noticed about them.
Yeah, a friend of mine told me that he used some of those compression socks on a hike, on a long distance hike, a 4-day hike or something, and he said the difference in the fatigue of his foot, or rather the lack of fatigue of his foot, was incredible, because it wasn't every time your foot hit the ground you weren't kind of wobbling on the bones on the meat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting. Wouldn't mind trying something like that one day. At the moment I wear wool socks. I was going to say 100%, but I think they're something like 98 or 95.
Yeah.
And I used to wear Wigwam, I think they're called, but now I wear Bluey Merino brand.
Oh yeah.
And they're fantastic.
Yeah, they are.
As is everything. I've actually got their shirt, long johns and underwear on now, and socks.
I was about to join in and say I got the shirt, but I can't go that far out. That's pretty cool.
I just like it's all Australian made, and it's Australian. Well, that was a huge bug that just did a lap past my face.
Was it a bug or was that the little bat?
I think that was a bug.
Yeah.
Did you hear that big chomp down the water just then? I reckon that was Eric.
Eric?
Cutting sick on some poor little fish or something.
You should go and give him a
down
pat.
there.
He's probably needing you to go touch him up again.
Yeah, we were going to do the podcast down by the water, which is only literally 4 meters away. But I was saying to Craig, I'm so worn out from today, I don't think I could sit down on a rock for an hour and keep up any kind of conversation. I'm struggling here as it is.
Yeah, I'm a bit tired.
Yeah, something about those, going back to the wool socks, I just can't believe, and I know it's the whole purpose of wool, how warm they are. Because I've hiked in water when it's been freezing cold as well, or had rain on my feet in Tasmania, and I just can't believe your foot. Oh, he's behind you.
He just went through, yeah.
Yeah, that was Barry. Baz of the Bat just came in he must have heard us talking about him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. When he comes flying in, he flies straight over Craig's head, only by about a foot or two, really low, and then goes through the trees and then turns around and comes flying back out over Craig. That's funny. Yeah, I can't believe the warmth they maintain when they're wet, and the shirts and all of it, but I just can't believe how warm when your feet are completely sopping wet, squelching in your boots, and your feet are still warm.
Yeah, you don't get cold.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, this is a full merino wool, and it's been so good for so many years, and it's light and thin, but it's flawless for its warmth.
I've got a hole in my...
Yeah, this has got a couple.
In the shoulder when we were on that Stinson hike. Some of that lawyer vine got me.
The biggest enemy is Velcro.
The what?
The biggest enemy of this is Velcro. So
right.
There's a little bit on these skaters. There's a bit on...
when you kind of pack up and stuff. If you chuck it on some Velcro.
And I think I occasionally put a jacket on over this that's got some Velcro on it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It just tears it.
Yeah.
a bit.
There's this vine. It's not actually a vine. I take that back. Oh, there's stuff falling out of trees here. It's a very strange. What would you class it as? It's not a tree. It's more like a plant. It's just a weird thing, isn't it?
Big fern thing.
It looks like it's like a fern. It looks a little bit. The trunk looks a bit like cane, but it's only about as thick as your thumb. And then it has these long, sort of anywhere from a foot to foot and a half, so 30 centimeters, 50 centimeters. This long, I don't know what, it's a very thin stalk, like a piece of wire, and it's got hundreds and hundreds of very, very strong hooks.
Yeah.
And they're all pointing the opposite way.
Yeah.
And when you walk through and they go across your arm or your chest or your face, I've had one on my ear once. I've had them rip my hat off my head. They're absolutely brutal. And they've got two nicknames. One's Wait a While, which our mate Josh calls them Wait a While.
Does he?
And for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Because it takes a good minute sometimes.
You've got to take a few steps back to get it off.
Yeah, you've got to take a few steps back.
And
you've got to grab the end of it and pull it the opposite way to...
And they've got several arms, so just when you think you're out of this one, there's another one next to it.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good point that I didn't mention, is sometimes there'll be 10 of these tendrils like hanging off, and you'll get one off and you'll notice that you've got 2 around your leg. It's just horrific.
Yeah, so they're called Wait a While, and what's the other thing?
Lawyer vine.
Lawyer vine.
Lawyer.
Yeah.
Because once they get their claws into you, they never let you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what ripped the shoulder of my merino top on that Stinson hike. It just was a tiny one of those, just grabbed it and tore a hole in it.
Yeah, yep.
And that is the story of my ripped merino wool shirt. That shall never be the same again. Oh, I was just thinking, we saw a little wriggly stick today, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which I was expecting to see a lot more, but...
Yeah. I thought it was a black colour, but then I saw it had a light coloured belly. Yeah. And then I realised...
Barry's back.
Did he just make a little chirping noise?
Yeah, yes. That's not him knocking those fruits off, is it? He's causing a ruckus. He went in there and then those fruits fell off. Yeah, he made it a little cheap, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought I heard him do it cheap or squeak or something.
He's broken my concentration. What was I talking about?
I can't remember now.
I can't remember. Oh, I was talking about the snake.
Oh, yeah. So, but it was only some kind of tree snake.
Yeah, some sort of tree snake. There was one of those in my backyard last weekend. I was training with my log, as I do, and I went to take the log back to where I leave it. So picture this, I've just done about 20-30 minutes full-on workout. I can only just carry this thing back, I'm all wobbly. And then just as I set it down on the ground, this snake just bursts out of the garden, like just launches out of the garden, diagonally across in front of me. And all I saw as well was that dark, almost brown. This one looked more like copper, dark brown, and I thought it was a brown snake. Yeah. And I just dropped the log and jumped back a few steps, and then I thought, I need to see it because I need to know what it is. And so I jumped a bit closer, and I saw the yellow underneath, and then I noticed that the top was not so much brown as like a dark olive,
Yeah, it could be.
and then it went into my shed, which is great, 'cause that's where I go to get all my tools and stuff. And I went straight in and double checked it on the internet, and it was definitely some kind of a green snake, tree snake.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, non-venomous, so it's all good.
Yeah.
He can live in the shed, get some of the geckos out of there so they stop crapping all over my kayak.
Yeah. When we were kids, the most common ones we used to catch coming around the house were the swamp tiger snakes, we used to call them.
Is that right?
Yeah, which kind of looked a bit like that one today, with bigger head, and then because they're kind of like got a light coloured belly.
Yeah.
But
Did
they
you
probably
say you were catching them?
moving them on. Let's say
I beg your pardon?
moving them on.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I
because
was going to say they're venomous, right?
yeah, I think I'm sure they are, but I just don't know if anyone else calls them that, and what they actually were that we were seeing a lot of. But I think that's what we used to call them. But yeah, I was out walking the other day, and I saw a giant python taking down a huge bat.
No way.
Actually, did I send you that picture?
No. Where was it?
I didn't.
No, I'm sure you didn't. I would remember this.
Oh, okay. It's I got a photograph of it, but because the flash is on, it looks fucking just scary. No, hang on a second. Now I'm remembering more clearly that it was actually a possum in it.
Oh.
I thought I'd sent this to you. So it was basically
Oh, no, yeah, maybe you did.
wrapped up, and you
Yes,
can just
you
see this
did.
furry thing in it.
Yeah, you sent me a photo of that.
I-
When you said it was a bat, that's what threw me.
I have
thought,
seen
what?
them take bats,
This
but
epic snake and bat. I mean, you've just freaked Barry out. He's
maybe
he's
Barry
taken
made me
off. He's
think about bat. But
he doesn't want to hear about such stories.
yeah,
Oh, so where was that?
that was just it must have come down off a street or a power pole.
Yeah, but where was it? Near your house? Or
Yeah, it's only like 100 metres from my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
we get heaps of those big ones, eh?
I love pythons. I reckon there'd be tons lurking through here.
Yeah, I tried to pick up a small one the other night.
Yeah?
Yeah, I tried to film it with my other hand, and it didn't go very well.
Was it getting all feisty?
Yeah, it curled up then.
Oh, yeah, once they curl up,
I couldn't quite
you
get to him.
You can't do much, yeah. At least not with my limited skills.
No.
Yeah, like I think I was saying that last time I saw a python out here, it was awesome. There'd be
Right.
plenty for them to eat. I can hear frogs going off now down the back.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be good. We had a bit of rain last night, but skies were clear before, so I think we'll have a pretty good night.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we've only got a short hike back to the car tomorrow,
Yeah.
which means that we've got a little bit of time in the morning to maybe film a couple of things.
You bet.
So have a look on, I think we were saying we're going to try and chuck up that little video of me giving the eel a little pat.
Yeah, that's easy.
Might chuck that on Instagram.
Yeah.
And we got a couple of other cool bits and pieces. To be honest, we were so focused on hiking and getting around today that we didn't have as much time on the cameras as we normally do. Actually, we had hardly any. But hopefully I got a couple of good photos and
Yeah.
a few bits and pieces to throw up.
Such a good day of hiking though, man.
Yeah, it was a good day. It was
But-
a fantastic day. It was just what I needed to recharge again, get some fresh air.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll wrap that up.
Time.
I've been holding off very politely eating my meat pie flavoured Pringles because I didn't want everyone to hear me chewing Pringles while the podcast is going.
Oh, come on, give us a sample now. You got it.
Oh, what, now that I've said that?
You got it now.
Does anyone know that these exist? What is it called? Aussie... I can't even read that in this light. Aussie flavour. Oh, Aussie favourites, yeah. Meat pie flavour, Pringles. I bet some of our audience doesn't even know what a meat pie is. Or doesn't know quite the context of it. Smells delicious. Smells like meat, pastry and tomato sauce.
Ah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't
That's Craig's fault you're hearing this.
can't wait to lay down tonight, put my feet up.
Okay. Thanks for listening, guys.
You bet.
Thanks for joining us on our first on-location podcast. We're going to get some rest. What's the time now? It's 25 past 9.
Right.
So we'll turn off all these cameras and stuff and curl up in our hammocks.
You bet.
All right. Thanks, guys. Catch you on the next episode. See you later. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes, we'd really appreciate your ratings and comments if you can spare the time. If you'd like to know more about HikeordieTV and keep track of our adventures around Australia, make sure you drop by Hikeordie.com. That's where you'll find all the information you'll need to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or Pinterest. As always, we appreciate your support. Thanks for listening.